Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing very well. I'm back! Yes, I did take a little bit of a break here on my channel, but it wasn't really intentional. It was mostly because nothing was happening. Nothing was happening, guys. Like, I know the month of January is usually a tough one. It's usually the month that I take a break even because nothing much really happened. But January 2023 it's like real crickets. Like, it's just crickets out there. I mean, these releases are kind of meh. I was interested in seeing Megan, but I wasn't about to see it in the cinema because it's a horror movie and I'm a scaredy cat. And even though it's not that scary, I didn't want to take the risk. So like, what else is there to talk about? Really, I'm here just like twiddling my thumbs. Like, where are the new releases at? Like, what's going on, Hollywood? But thankfully, the Hollywood gods have blessed us today because yes, we did get the announcement for the nominees list for the 95th Academy Awards this year. So as is tradition here on my channel, we are going to be breaking down my thoughts, feelings, reactions to this nominees list in this video. And spoiler alert, even though I'm very grateful to the Hollywood gods for blessing us with something to talk about today, I am not grateful, however, for this nominees list because listen guys, I am so angry. But we're gonna get into it, okay? We're gonna get into it in a second, but before we do, as per usual, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and make sure you turn on your notifications so that you can be told when I upload next. Okay. Now without further ado, let's dive into the nominees list for the 95th Academy Awards. So when it comes to my overall thoughts on this nominees list, I have it here on my laptop. It was looking pretty standard. Like, there weren't any major surprises on this list, right? I mean, we've seen a lot of these projects cycle around throughout award season, so there wasn't any, huge shocks. I think the biggest shocks were the omissions rather than the inclusions. So we're going to dive into the first category, which I think is actually the most egregious. Like, this is the category that had me rolling, that had me screaming, and it's Best Actress in a Leading Role. Let's talk about it, guys. Let's talk about it. Especially if you are a regular here on my channel, you know what I'm angry about. You know what I am pissed about. Okay, let's go through it, shall we? So, Best Actress in a Leading Role, the nominees here are Cate Blanchett for Tar, Ana de Armas for Blonde, Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Where is Viola? Where is Miss Davies? Where is Viola? I can't see her. I've checked on various websites to see, like, maybe one of them had a typo, maybe one of them mistakenly didn't include her on the list. Like, I have looked everywhere. I have tried to find an answer to this question, and the conclusion that I am forced to come to is that the Academy made the egregious decision, made the egregious choice to leave her out from this category. And to that I just say, what were you thinking? What is going on? I am literally baffled. I'm literally baffled because I had just come to terms with the fact that Cate Blanchett had swooped in there in the last minute, okay, as the second runner-up for the Best Actress category. I had come to terms with this. I'd made peace with this, and I said, you know what? Okay, fine. As long as Viola is there, okay, at least I could sleep at night somewhat. I would still be very disturbed. It would be the worst sleep of my life, but I would at least sleep. This list right here, oh, I'll be awake all night. I'll be awake. I'm not getting a wink of sleep. What is this? I am so mad. I can't believe they did this to me. To me. What did I do to them? I gave them the perfect category in the Genie Awards, and also the Golden Globes gave them the perfect category over there. Why didn't they just copy and paste that? Even the BAFTAs got it right. Oh my god. Even the BAFTAs got it right. Do you know how ridiculous you have to be behind the BAFTAs? Like, the BAFTAs got the perfect category for Best Actress. They should have just copied that, for goodness sake. Why did they go off and do whatever the hell this is? Why did they do that? Oh my. Listen, long story short, I'm really upset that Viola isn't on this list. I think it's a travesty. I think it's a disaster. I think it's egregious, horrendous, just horrible. It's a bad move by the Academy. And the fact that the Woman King isn't represented anywhere here on this list is also just a travesty. Like, let me not even talk. Let me not even talk, because I'm just gonna say whatever. I'm just gonna lose my damn mind. Let me just calm down. All right, let's go through the people who are actually here, shall we? Cate Blanchett. I've talked to death about my thoughts on Cate Blanchett swooping in there to become the runner-up for Best Actress. Like, I just think that's sickening. I think I think that's so horrendous. I'm a fan of Cate Blanchett, like, whatever, but I don't think that she did anything spectacular in Tar, as I've said many times at this point. You guys know. So whatever. I'm so angry. Okay, Ana de Armas for Blonde. I don't understand how she made it to the Oscars. Like, I genuinely do not understand. Blonde as a film has no heat. No one really cares about that film. In fact, people denounced it for the way that it overly sexualized Marilyn Monroe and misunderstood her story. So, like, I don't know how she's gotten this far, but she's a young ingenue, I guess. I guess that's how she got this far, even though her slot could have been given to someone who's way more deserving. Like, I don't know, Viola Davis, or perhaps even Danielle Deadwyler from Till. Like, how about we, whatever. And then next we have a very interesting case here that I want to talk about. Maybe you guys haven't really heard much about this, but I did hear rumblings of this literally last week, and we need to discuss this because it's very interesting. Here we have Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie. Now, this is a perfect example of what I mean when I say that the Academy Awards and award season overall is not just about rewarding the best performances of the year. Clearly, because Viola Davis isn't here. Anyway, it's not just about that. It is about the campaign. It's about everything surrounding that performance. And in this case, you have a performance that really went so under the radar. Andrea did not have any heat on her, you know, going into award season in general. This film is so low-key. Like, it's not even low-key, look, it's like unknown. Okay, literally 3 people have seen it, okay? But the right 3 people saw it, because all of a sudden you heard rumblings from celebrities like Cate Blanchett herself, whatever. I don't know why she's talking. She's up for a nomination as well. Anyway, but you had rumblings from certain celebrities who would say, you know, Andrea was really great in that film. You know, I think Andrea should be up there, you know, receiving nominations as well. And all of a sudden, this campaign exploded literally within a matter of weeks, and now she's made it on the board. Guys, that is wild. That is wild, and it speaks to the power of a campaign, but not just any old campaign, a campaign that swoops in the right moment, because there are some campaigns that start just a bit too early. They don't have the momentum to carry through, but there are some that just swoop in there, like a 1917, the year that that was released, and it's just the right time for people to pick up, you know, that momentum, to pick up steam and land on the board for the Academy Awards. And this is a perfect example of that, because I'm telling you, pretty much no one has seen this film or will ever see this film, and yet somehow she is here instead of Viola Davis. That makes me so angry. Listen, I have nothing against Andrea. She was great in Matilda, for instance, one of my favorite films of 2022, but the fact that she's here is just like inexplicable. Although I guess I just give you the explanation, so it's not quite inexplicable, but still, it's very angry. And then next up we have yet another unexpected nominee with Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, which, I mean, this is also just like, how is this happening? Michelle Williams, you know, had a lot of praise for her role in The Fabelmans, but she wasn't getting a lot of nods. So, I mean, that's quite the accomplishment here. This spot could have gone to Danielle Deadwyler, as I said, or Viola Davis, but she's here, so fine, I guess. Anyway, next we have Michelle Yeoh, the one and only true winner. If this goes to anyone other than Michelle Yeoh, guys. Like, I don't even I don't know if I have the strength to even cover the ceremony if Michelle Yeoh doesn't win. Like, if Cate Blanchett takes this home, I don't know if I have the strength, guys. I don't know if I have the strength to film my reaction to the ceremony, post it online. No, I'll just have to sit in a corner and process that, because I already lost Viola. I cannot be losing Michelle Yeoh as well. That can't be happening. That cannot be happening this award season. Okay, so now let's move on to the next category. It's pretty much smooth sailing from here. Best Actress was my biggest qualm, my biggest concern. But next up we have Best Actor in a Leading Role. And here the nominees are Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Paul Mescal for After Sun, and Bill Nighy for Living. So like I said, when it comes to this category, the stakes are a little bit lower. I'm not overly surprised by anyone here, although I was shocked to see Paul Mescal, to be fair. The fact that he's actually made it on the board for his performance in After Sun is pretty impressive. I didn't love After Sun. I don't love films like that where the plot is very like, ooh. The plot is very like, it's all about the vibe and like what's going on and what isn't said. And I get the message, you know, the relationship between the father and the daughter. I understand. And Paul Mescal is good in it. I just felt like his performance here was quite similar and reminiscent to what he did in Normal People, which is the show that, you know, got him on the board, as well as his co-star Daisy something. Daisy, oh, the other girl. Anyway, my point is, well done for him for making it on the board. Well done. Okay, he's such a young and up-and-coming actor. This is a huge accomplishment. And well done to Austin Butler for making it all the way to the very end. That's how these campaigns are supposed to go. We have Brendan Fraser as well, who's been campaigning for a while, and he was hot for a moment there, and then he kind of lost a bit of momentum, but then that momentum has kind of picked back up in the last couple of weeks, especially for the BAFTAs, where he recently visited a cinema in London that was showing The Mummy, and he was talking to fans, and it was, you know, a really great experience, and he was emphasizing the importance of the UK fans in the success of The Mummy. So, you know, he's kind of kissing up to us British folk, and it's working. So yeah, he's picking up momentum again for his performance. But I would say overall that I would be most happy with this award going to Colin Farrell. Absolutely. I want this to be handed over to Colin Farrell, even though his performance isn't my favorite in Banshees. I think that honor goes to another, you know, co-star of his, which we'll talk about in a second. But I would personally give this to Colin Farrell, although I wouldn't be mad if Brendan Fraser ended up taking this home, even though I haven't seen The Whale. Okay, so next up we have a stronger category, and here we have Best Actress in a Supporting Role, where the nominees are Angela Bassett for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Hong Chow for The Whale, Kerry Condon for Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once. My girl Stephanie made it on the board, guys! Guys, what did I tell you? She is good in the film. She is excellent in the film. She absolutely deserved to be here. People were very shocked to see her be omitted from the Golden Globes category. So I'm really, really glad that she got in here to the Academy Awards one. I think it's absolutely fitting. She was phenomenal in Everything Everywhere All at Once. I would have nominated her over Jamie Lee Curtis, but Jamie Lee Curtis has the name and the recognition, so fine, they're both on the board, and that's okay with me. Although I would have preferred someone like, I don't know, Lashana Lynch from The Woman King to be here instead. I'm so angry. When I think of all the incredible performances in The Woman King, and Gina Prince Blythewood not getting a nod for directing, and Viola, I'm just like, I'm done. Do you know, I'm done. Let's pack this up. I quit. Let me hand in my letter of resignation, but I'm going to keep going. Okay? So this needs to go to Angela, right? Like this, we've all agreed that this is going to Angela Bassett, right? Angela Bassett is going to become the first, MCU actress to win a major Academy Award, or whatever that category is. That accomplishment for the comic book movie landscape is momentous, and it's going to be incredible when she wins. Okay, manifesting it. So yeah, I think it absolutely deserves to go to Angela Bassett. She was incredible in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, but at the same time I wouldn't be mad if it went to Stephanie Hsu. I think Stephanie Hsu is a bit too much of a newcomer, so maybe that going to follow her career, the fact that she's Academy Award nominated is a huge deal already, but I think they're going to give it to Angela for her tenure as an actress, and the fact that she didn't win for her portrayal of Tina Turner. And like I said, these awards aren't just about the best performances, although Angela Bassett's performance was excellent in the film, but it's also about the story, the campaign. That's just how these things work. And so I think that Angela's story this year is very strong, and she is likely to take it home. Okay, so next up we have Best Actor in a Supporting Role, and here the nominees are Brendan Gleeson for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway, Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans, Barry Keoghan for The Banshees of Inisherin, and Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So we know, who this is going to. Come on, guys, we already know. It's going to Ke Huy Quan, absolutely, as it should. Okay, like this is one of the few clear front runners in all of these categories, and I would be shook. I would fall off my chair if it didn't go the way that I think it's going to go. But I did want to highlight one thing, okay, and that is Brian Tyree Henry being nominated for an Academy Award. Listen, I told you that Brian Tyree Henry had an excellent year last year. Did I not? I kept telling you. I told you in the review for Atlanta season 3. I told you in my review for Atlanta season 4. I told you in the Genie Awards. I told you in various different videos that Brian Tyree Henry was killing it last year, and y'all didn't believe me. But look, my boy has an Academy Award nomination. I told you, pay attention to Brian Tyree Henry, and look, he made it on the board. I am so happy, okay? I'm so happy for him. Like I said, he killed in all of his performances last year, in Bullet Train as well, which I mentioned in my review of that film. So this is wonderful to see. But, at the end of the day, it's going to Ke Huy Quan. Oh, another actor I wanted to spotlight is Barry Keoghan in The Banshees of Inisherin, who was just fantastic. If it wasn't for Ke Huy Quan being here and dominating, I would say Barry Keoghan would be my second choice, absolutely, because Barry Keoghan in Banshees of Inisherin, it was his character that took the film from being okay, pretty good, pretty interesting, to just like an emotional gut punch. Like that's what his character did. Him and Kerry Condon together, match made in heaven. So yeah, really glad to see him on the board as well, and ultimately I do think it's going to go to Ke Huy Quan, as it should. Okay, so the next category up is Best Director, and here the nominees are Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. So when it comes to this category, I'm not overly invested, because Gina Prince Bythewood isn't nominated for The Woman King. We could have even had Chinonye Chukwu for Till. She did a superb job on that film as well. I recently watched it. So we could have had some other players here on this board, especially female directors, because there was some incredible work done by female directors this year. I think we could have removed the director director of Triangle of Sadness, Ruben. Whilst Triangle of Sadness was really promising for the first 2 acts, I think the final act really lost me, and then it became interesting again at the very end, but at that point it left a sour taste in my mouth already. I actually preferred, this is wild, I actually preferred The Menu to Triangle of Sadness. So the fact that Triangle of Sadness has gotten all of this awards recognition, I think it's just because it came in there early and established itself as an awards frontrunner, even though it's an inferior film. But it's a shame because The Menu is leaps and bounds better than Triangle of Sadness, in my opinion. It maintains that momentum throughout the film, and Triangle of Sadness fails to do so. So I don't know what Ruben is doing here, no offense, but that should have been Gina's place, okay? Then we have Todd Field for Tar. Fine. Just like, I'm just so defeated at this point. Tar is a good film. It's one of my favorite films of last year. You know, it's like having a least favorite child. It's like, okay. And then The Fabelmans, Steven Spielberg. I think it's gonna go to Steven Spielberg. I wouldn't be happy about it. I really would not be happy about it. I would rather it go to the Daniels. You know, if I had it my way, it would go to the Daniels. But I have a sneaking suspicion that the fact that The Fabelmans is about Steven Spielberg's life, kind of, and he reveals some, you know, heartbreaking things about his mother, and, you know, it's very personal, and it's a touching story, blah, blah, blah. It's supposed to be his masterpiece, even though it's not even close to one of his best works. Yeah, that's gonna probably get him the Oscar for Best Director. Even though this guy, you know, this new up-and-coming director, Steven Spielberg, surely does not need another Academy Award on his already full shelf. But, you know, fine, give it to him, I guess. I would prefer it go to the Daniels 100%. Which leads us to the big one, okay? We are going to be diving into Best Picture next. And here, the nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Woman Talking. So this list is just like, it's a bit stinky, it's a bit smelly. Like, something's not right here, okay? Like, it just feels like they missed the mark. You know, it feels like there were so many, like, landmark films that really just made 2022 what it was. And so many of them are just not featured here on this list. And they chose, like, they went down the, like, weird route of, like, we're not like the other girls, we're gonna pick these films, like Women Talking. I know Women Talking has been, you know, in the awards circuit scene for a while. I know it's been getting a lot of praise for the writing, which we'll talk about in a moment, but Best Picture? That doesn't seem right. A film that literally no one watched, Best Picture. I think the Academy needs to clarify what the kind of criteria is for this category, because Best Picture for Women Talking, why does that feel like a seat filler to me? Which is crazy, because I don't want to say it again. You know what I'm going to say? I'm not going to say it again. But my point is, there is no room for seat fillers. Considering the roster of 2022 films, there's no reason why we should have had any seat fillers, and yet here we are. Here we are with Women Talking being here for some reason, and Triangle of Sadness, which I already explained to you guys, is not even the best example of the Eat the Rich kind of murder mystery style film that we got in 2022. Like I said, I would have been happier to see The Menu in here, and I would have been much happier to see Glass Onion on this list as well. Speaking of Triangle of Sadness, we have a trilogy here of sadness and of eating the rich, and I would say that Triangle of Sadness is actually the inferior film of the three. But listen, all of this is kind of a moot point. At the end of the day, there's only one film that I feel should win, and if there's any hope in the world, will win. And that is Everything Everywhere All at Once. Just give it to that film. Okay, so next up, we're giving a spotlight to the writers, and here we have Best Adapted Screenplay. So the nominees here are Edward Berger, Leslie Patterson, and Ian Stokell for All Quiet on the Western Front, Ryan Johnson for Glass Onion, Kuzo Ishiguro for Living, Erin Kruger, Eric Warren, Singer, Christopher McQuarrie, and Peter Craig and Justin Marks. Oh my god, for Top Gun Maverick, and Sarah Polley for Women Talking. So as I mentioned, you know, Sarah Polley has been getting a lot of hype for her screenplay for Women Talking, so I'm not surprised to see it here. The writers on Top Gun Maverick, the fact that that has like 1 million writers, that's interesting considering the story was pretty simple. I mean, I don't know if Top Gun Maverick is the film I would have chosen for adapted screenplay, if I'm being honest. Adapted from what? The US military. Living, I think this is actually adapted from the original film, which is Japanese. So I guess that's why it's an adapted screenplay. I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on the quality of the screenplay. But I can't comment on the quality of the screenplay regardless, because I'm not a screenwriter. But you know, I'm a fun internet personality, so like, you know, let's have fun with it. It's cool. Rian Johnson, I would say, absolutely deserves to be on this list. He should have been up for Best Picture. Whatever. Overall, when it comes to this category, I would pick Rian Johnson. Although, to be fair, I haven't seen many of the other films on this list, but I would predict that it's probably going to go to Women Talking by Sarah Polley. Okay, so naturally, the next award that we've got is Best Original Screenplay, and here the nominees are Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin, The Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg and Tony Kushner for The Fabelmans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. Once again, we're seeing a lot of the same, you know, similar names on this list as well. They're kind of just recycling the same films for all of these different categories, which is a critique I've had of the Academy Awards many times for many years, guys. You know, because it seems like they just watch the same 10 films and then just parcel out, you know, the awards for these same films, and it doesn't feel like, you know, each category is really celebrating the best of the year for that particular category, unless we're talking about the more, you know, technical categories like VFX. Although even then, like, I saw Black Panther be included in the VFX category, and I love Black Panther. Please, I love Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but you can't look me dead in my eyes and tell me that Black Panther Wakanda Forever had some of the best VFX of the whole year. I would beg to differ. Okay, sis, like sitting next to Avatar, that's a bit sus to me. So yeah, it just feels like they watched the same like 10-15 films and are like, okay, which one would fit in here, which one would fit in there, and that's how you end up with Everything Everywhere All at Once having 11 nominations. As great as that film is, like, there are other films that did these specific categories better. You just didn't seem to watch them. I just feel so annoyed, like they didn't do their homework. But anywho, for Best Original Screenplay, we have some familiar faces here. You know what? I think it's between Everything Everywhere All at Once and The Banshees of Inisherin. I would actually predict that it's probably going to go to The Banshees if Best Picture does not go to Everything Everywhere. I predict that, you know, The Banshees is going to get screenplay, to shout out to, you know, Martin McDonagh for doing a great job with the screenplay for that film. It's very multi-layered. It's a really great allegory for Ireland during this period in the early 20th century. And yeah, I think it's a really clever film and very well written. Everything Everywhere All at Once, though, is also very well written and very multi-layered. So I would love for it to, you know, take home as many awards as it can hold in its hands, okay? But I would say that Banshees has a leg up for screenplay, but Everything Everywhere should have a leg up for Best Picture, if all is right in the world. Please. So I think that outcome would make sense to me. If it goes to The Fabelmans, I'm just gonna roll my eyes so hard they'll get stuck. Literally, if it goes to anyone else, I'll be rolling my eyes so hard I'll be looking at my brain. Truly, I just don't have time for this. Okay, so next up, let's dive into the world of animation with the Best Animated Feature Film category. And here the nominees are Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, The Sea Beast, and Turning Red. First of all, The Sea Beast is on the board. When I tell you guys, now I don't want to say I told you so, like all throughout the video. That's annoying, right? Like I'm sure you guys don't want to hear it. But I told you so. I'm so happy that the CVs made it on the board. Like, oh, that film is so adorable. It's so touching and heartwarming, but it has such a powerful, clever message. If you have not seen the CVs, get on that. It's on Netflix. What are you waiting for? I know you have a Netflix account, okay? If you're sharing with your family members, I know you can access it. So watch the CVs. I'm really happy, especially because it is an animated film that has a black main lead character. So that's just like wonderful, but it's not about black issues particularly, so it's accessible to all. And I think it's such a great, powerful film with beautiful animation. The color stories in this film, they're so bright, vibrant, stunning. This is like the best of like DreamWorks animation, this film represents truly. Speaking of DreamWorks animation, guess who finally got to see Puss in Boots: The Last Wish? Your girl. I finally watched Puss in Boots. Listen, these past couple of weeks I haven't just been sitting there doing nothing. I've been catching up on some things as well. And Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, banger of a film. What can I say? It's a banger of a film. If I'd watched it at the time of the Genie Awards or the best of videos, I absolutely would have included it there, because it's actually quite excellent. It's actually quite superb, and I would give it to Puss in Boots, honestly. Yeah, I would be okay with giving it to Puss in Boots. Listen, I named Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio as my favorite animated film, first of all because I hadn't seen Puss in Boots, and secondly because just the artistry and the story surrounding Pinocchio I think is like grander and just more significant. And if you sat me down and asked me, Jean, you have the choice between watching Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio or Puss in Boots 2, which one are you gonna see? I would hands down pick Puss in Boots 2. Absolutely, hands down. I would happily watch that film again because it was so enjoyable. First of all, the voice actors, like the voice work is voice working. That was so cringe, but it's true. Like the voice actors were actually doing bits, I have to say. Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots, what a stroke of genius. Oh my god, what a stroke of genius. And the fact that this second film is just so far superior to the first. Do you know how hard it is to do that? For the sequel to be better than the original? I mean, I guess that's the par for the course for the Shrek franchise actually. But I honestly, I loved Puss in Boots 2. It's excellent. I get why it's gotten so much hype now. But I do predict that this is ultimately going to go to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and I won't be mad about that at all because I still think that film is spectacular. Like it's just in its own league, and it's just perfect for awards, you know what I mean? So I see it going to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Okay, so now let's move on to Best International Feature Film, and here the nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front from Germany, Argentina 1985 from Argentina, Close from Belgium, EO from Poland, and The Quiet Girl from Ireland. So I remember mentioning in a previous video that Ireland had a really great 2022 when it came to the realm of entertainment. Of course, we had The Banshees of Inisherin. We also had the smaller film starring Letitia Wright called Aisha, which was set in Ireland. We had Apple TV Plus's Bad Sisters, which I loved. And now we have the addition of The Quiet Girl, which is an entry here in Best International Feature Film. So yeah, this is looking really, really great in terms of Irish representation in the world of entertainment. But in terms of the category at large, I would say the biggest disappointment is the exclusion of RRR from India. I think that was the biggest international film, hands down. That's not even a thought, that's not even a hot take. It's just a fact. It was the biggest international film last year. It it made the biggest and best impression on the whole world. And I do think it deserved to be here on this list. I have not even heard of EO from Poland. No offense, Poland, but like, where is this coming from? It should be RRR on there, you know, Clothes from Belgium. I have not heard this. And we don't even have Saint Omar from France, I think it was, that film that had a lot of hype early on in the awards season. So like, some of these films are just coming in here randomly. Overall, I would guess that this is going to go to either All Quiet on the Western Front from Germany, which has, you know, the most kind of recognition aside from RRR, or I could see it going to Argentina, as it already grabbed the Golden Globes. I wouldn't be surprised if it took home the Oscar as well. But overall, I would say that this is a category that I'm not overly familiar with, and therefore I'm not wholly invested in either. But well done for Ireland for having a great year in entertainment. And finally, before I go, I do have a couple of miscellaneous thoughts and categories that I wanted to touch on. First off, speaking of RRR, I did see that it was nominated for Best Original Song for Natu Natu, and I think it should absolutely win without question. I also saw that Black Panther Wakanda Forever was nominated for Best Costuming from Ruth E. Carter, which I said in my review of the film, the costuming was absolutely spectacular, so I'm not surprised by that, and I hope that it ends up going to Black Panther Wakanda Forever. That would be incredible if like the Black Panther franchise in the MCU was just like the one that took home all of the major awards. That would be that would be insane. Like, that would just be it's just representing the MCU and comic book movies, you know, in the awards landscape. I just think that's wonderful. It couldn't go to a more deserving franchise. Speaking of comic book movies in the awards landscape, I did see the Batman got a few shouts for VFX as well, I believe, which I think is like, okay, fine. Like, they always throw the VFX card to, you know, big blockbuster films that use green screen. Like, that's kind of how it feels. I think VFX should absolutely go to Avatar. Come on, please. It should go to Avatar: The Way of Water. But I saw that, you know, the Batman was on there, as well as Best Makeup. You know, Black Panther was also nominated for Best Hair and Makeup. But I think the work on the Penguin, aka Colin Farrell, okay, definitely deserves a shout out. And DC at this point also has a bit of a reputation for getting Best Hair and Makeup after the Suicide Squad won it in 2017. So yeah, I think it's really great that the Batman has gotten that shout out, just to confirm that the Academy Awards voters watched the film. I think that's literally what they're trying to tell us. They're like, we watched the Batman, okay? Like, we have seen it, leave us alone. Here are your nominees. And so with that, like I said, I am disappointed by the lack of The Woman King. I think it could have been nominated in various categories. I don't know if the controversy surrounding the film kind of inhibited it from getting that recognition. I think that's such a huge shame if it did. But there's also other films like, you know, Glass Onion, The Menu, which I think should have been featured on here in various categories as well, instead of others like Triangle of Sadness. But alas, this is the list that we have ended up with. And so that's it from me, guys. Now that I told you guys my thoughts on the 95th Academy Awards nominations list, it's time for you guys to let me know what you thought of these nominees down in the comments below. Please be sure to subscribe to catch new videos coming up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.